Applejack, Are You Gay? By FireRain. Applejack, are you gay? A clock ticked by its lonesome on the nearby wall, filling the gap of silence between Rainbow Dash and Applejack, after the question had left the signed Pegasus's lips. Neither Applejack or Rainbow moved a single muscle as they sat together on opposite ends of the table in Sugar Cube Corner, which was thankfully empty at the time the question was asked. It was a Sunday, which meant that the shop was closed for the day, with both owners, the Cakes, out on business. They wouldn't be back for at least a couple of days, and as for Pinkie Pie, usually behind the counter and collecting orders, she was using her time off productively by helping out Fluttershy with her animal friends. Apparently, she required an extra hoof to care for an injured animal, and Pinkie didn't hesitate to rush over to offer her assistance to a friend in need. That left it with just Rainbow Dash and Applejack, now in a silent staring contest. Rainbow thought that maybe Applejack might have persisted upon the inquiry, but instead, she simply said nothing. Her face was emotionless and unreadable. Her glistening emerald eyes stared back at the signed Pegasus, as if she was trying to figure out what Rainbow was getting at. Well, no, that probably was what she was trying to figure out. It's not every day that your best friend, or any opponent for that matter, simply sits with you at the table and asks about your sexual orientation. I might. The silence that shrouded the room was only an enhancing factor to the blank stare and suspense for response. She didn't even blink. It was like she suddenly became paralysed into that one expression, an unreadable blankness that was somewhat making Dash feel a sense of uncertainty. "Why'd you ask?" She eventually spoke, her voice quiet and soft, yet spoken so casually. Well, I don't know, I'm just curious, I guess," Rainbow stated, with a shrug of her shoulders, scratching the back of her neck with her hoof. "I mean, it's kinda hard to tell with you." "What do you mean?" she asked, this time raising her brow. "Well, it's just the way I've seen you look at me sometimes. I'm not saying that I don't like it, but I figured that I'd clear the air and ask you why. Like I said, I'm just curious. So, are you gay or are you straight? It's a pretty simple question." Oh yes, how she has stared at her sometimes. Rainbow Dash wasn't exactly sure when Applejack first started taking secretive glances at her behind her back, thinking she didn't catch a glimpse of her doing so, but she was sadly mistaken. If anything, Dash first strongly caught onto it during one winter, when all of their friends were out at Sweet Apple Acres for a small party. It was Pinkie Pie's birthday, the exact same day that she had a small dramatic outburst and thought that her surprise birthday was her farewell party. Whilst Rainbow Dash was tinning to a barrel of cider and pouring herself a mug on one end of the barn for a drink, she kept noticing that certain Sunpony kept giving her a small glance when her head was turned. She may not have been able to see it, but she could sense it, just bearing down into her flesh like a hot knife as the owner's eyes stared at her hindquarters. Every time she turned around to look behind her to find the culprit that was staring at her, the sensation would suddenly stop. However, despite the sensation of Sunpony staring at her hindquarters behind her back, she could see Applejack off in the distance, holding a mug of cider in one hoof that was slightly obscuring her cheek, although not well enough to hide what looked to be like Dash. Although not well enough to hide what looked like to Dash as a soft blush. The hell? Against the orange fur of Applejack, it was highly noticeable, and ever since that one encounter, Dash has constantly been feeling her sneak glimpses, all of which she spotted her. It had only become clear recently that it was more than a mere friendly glance, something much more. Well, I don't rightfully know if you all should be asking me this. Applejack said, lightly tilting her hat back, as her face took on a slightly more serious expression. It just seems kind of personal, Rainbow. Rainbow pouted at that. Oh, come on, AJ. You make it sound like I'm judging you or something. Rainbow leaned back slightly and swiveled herself around in her seat, propping up her rear hooves on the edge of the table as she lounged back, resting her forehooves behind her head as she continued to stare with a cocky smile. You know it just as well as I do, Applejack. I've seen how you used to look at Countess Coloratura, or as you call her, Rara. Rainbow's smile became an amused smirk. Sassy. Oh, now she's just teasing me, Applejack thought. She's only doing it to get under my skin. Typical Rainbow. So? What does that prove exactly? Once again, Applejack raised an inquisitive brow at her rainbow-maned friend, her attention at full drive. It proves that you have a thing for her. At that, Applejack's eyes widened in shock and she gasped. No, I don't! Applejack protested, throwing her hooves up. We're just good friends and nothing more. Heck, she ain't even my she was my best friend at friendship camp. Why, if I didn't know any better, I'd say that you were jealous. This time, Rainbow gasped and snapped back into a sitting position, planting her hooves on the table and leaning towards the orange farm pony with a soft glare. Me? Jealous? Oh, please. I've got nothing against Rara. Besides, just own up, AJ. If you didn't have a thing there, then why are you so quick to deny anything? Applejack mimed Rainbow, leaning towards her in the seat. I'm not denying anything. Besides, what about yourself? You ain't exactly coming off as a straight mare. Applejack countered with the argument, to which Rainbow pressed her muzzle on Applejack's own, her glare hardening. For your information, Applejack, I actually am straight, Rainbow said, her warm and vanilla-scented breath pulsing against Applejack's face with each breath she spoke. And for one, I'm not the one in denial. Oh, that's it. If that stubborn old mare wants to play it that way, then she asked for it. With that, Applejack gripped a hold of Dash's shoulders, taking her by surprise as she proceeded to press aside Pegasus' lips against her own. She pushed softly yet firmly against her friend, and she could taste what was unmistakably the vanilla-flavoured cupcake that she had eaten only minutes ago. At the surprised gesture, Dash's cheeks ignited into an intense blush that represented red wine that was lit on fire, and her eyes enlarged in a mix of surprise and shock at what she was experiencing. Although largely taken aback by the sudden display of affection from her friend, Rainbow Dash couldn't help but somewhat like the sensation. Granted, she may not be into mares, but the passionate kiss she was receiving from Applejack was actually quite pleasant, and her lips held a hint of sweet apple that was transferred onto her own at the contact, adding an enhanced, warm, and inviting sensation to the kiss. Eventually, the kiss broke up and Applejack pulled back in her seat, recomposing herself with a slight smirk on her lips as she watched Dash look back at her with a surprised, shocked, and confused expression. Wow. Does that answer your question, Sugar Cube? Or do you all still need more confirmation? Applejack asked with an amused grin at the expression on Dash's face. Huh? No. I'm good. Rainbow slowly let herself slump backwards in her seat as her brain tried to slowly process what had just happened. I was just, thinking about how much you liked it. Applejack's grin grew larger. Oh, come on, Dash. There ain't no denying that look on your face. At that, Rainbow Dash became sheepish and she blushed once more, scratching the back of her neck with her hoof as she averted her gaze from Applejack's. Well, I sorta liked it, Dash admitted. Slowly, she looked back up to stare at Applejack in her large green eyes. So I take it that's a yes to my question? Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, from outside the Sugar Cube corner, a face of pink fur was pressed up against the glass of the window pane with her baby blue eyes, large, in surprise at what she had just witnessed. Beaming with an overly massive grin, Pinkie Pie gave a small, excited squee as she pulled her face off of the window pane with a loud pop. Eee! Just wait till I tell the girls about this. Well, I suppose that's that then. And honestly, I should take this opportunity to say that if I sounded a bit off it when I was recording this, or now for that matter, that's due to the fact that, one, it's about 2:45 in the morning in the UK, and I've had anything to drink today apart from green tea. And also, my voice feels like I've been swallowing some kind of cheese grater or something. And on a second note, I want to take this chance to say properly thanks for everyone who supported his story and got it onto the featured list. I mean, I'm still pretty kind of shocked about that, to be honest with you. But by my standards especially, this is probably one of the worst things I've written, or with not really that high hopes or intent for it. And so to wake up one morning and see it on the feature list the day I published it, it's pretty amazing. So yeah, thanks for all the support you all give me. And as always, what I say on my account on FimFiction, with love, from England, FireRain. Thanks for watching.